But I think both of you guys did great on the premise pressure. So give yourselves a hand, everybody.
It's rough out there, I'm telling you.
So Rodney, what do you think about these comedians?
Oh, it's rough, I'm telling you, it's rough. Get out of the business while you're young.
Should I just hang out or no?
Tell me about the coming up in the Long Island comedy scene, guys. You guys have been veterans of the game. I know, Tony, you've been around for about 20 years or so?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there, maybe a little more.
And what is it about the Long Island comedy scene that makes it so special in Long Island comics?
The Long Island comedy scene, we're like a fraternity. If you've been in it for a while, whatever, we all look out for each other. We all get happy when one of us does well. I don't want to badmouth, city people and stuff like that, but I have friends that are out in L.A. and it's just totally cutthroat. Like, guys will stab you in the back in a heartbeat just to get 5 minutes,
right.
and stuff like that. Here, we welcome you in, and you're on probationary period for a little while, and as long as you don't screw up and piss anybody off, you're okay. And then once we accept you into the fold, you're one of us. You're part of the brotherhood, or whatever you want to call it. The family. You're part of the family. And, we try to help each other out as much as we can. I've met a tremendous amount of great people doing this, and I've made so many great friends doing this. Friends now that I would take a bullet for them and stuff like that. Not Jon Santo, but there's a lot of other
We
but
haven't
that's
worked together
another
in
thing.
a while.
And it's another thing like that. Like, we can break each other's balls. Nobody takes it personal.
Right,
you know what
right,
I mean?
right.
Like, and the shit some of us say to each other. Like, they shit me and McNeely say to each other all the time. And not like in this premise, like
Right.
out fishing or just hanging out at the bar.
Right.
And the shit we say to each other, where if you said that like to a family member or something, they would never talk to you again. And we laugh about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, stuff like that, because we know where it's coming from, and we know how it is, and shit like that. But that's the Long Island comedy scene, and it peaks and valleys. Like, at one point, you could go get stage time anywhere. Like, 5 nights a week, you could get stage time, whether an open mic or somebody's show or whatever. Like,
Right.
Then it dropped down where it was like, if you weren't that well established, you weren't getting that much time. And now I see it's coming back up. It's spiking back up. This new crop of new guys that are coming out. Everybody's got a mic somewhere. Everybody's got something going on somewhere. Everybody's very supportive of each other. They've gotten this new crew that's coming through. They've already figured it out and got the attitude where, hey, if we don't help each other out, nobody's going to help us. So and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's how you build a scene, and I feel like coming back to Long Island, I've been gone for a while. I can feel it's definitely a more unified comedy scene.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of the old guard guys like you have been around, and helping out the younger guys like Eli here and Heather, and bringing them in, accepting them, helping them.
Yeah.
And you don't always see that in a lot of other comedy, even like you said in the city.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels more like a grind the way they do it.
Yeah, it's grinding. Even in some of the other cities that I've performed in, like, it's there, but it's not there. It's not like how it is. I don't know. The Long Island scene is just there's something totally different about it.
Here, I feel like, again, I'm not a comic. I'm not shoulder to shoulder with you guys in the green rooms, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's more acceptance when you look at like the Comedy Cellar, where only certain people are at the table.
Exactly.
Things like that is exclusive, not inclusive, and I think that could ultimately hurt, a new career,
Yeah.
a new person coming in. Where here, I feel like, all right, there's room for a lot of people, and I also think if you compare apples to apples here, or the Long Island has some of the greatest legend comedians to ever be on the stage, from Lenny Bruce all the way to Seinfeld.
Right.
I mean, Rodney.
I think that's because of the way we treat each other.
Yeah.
And that's why. Because not only are we helpful and everything, but there's a humility about us too. Like, we know not to be too much of an asshole. Like,
Right.
sometimes you can, if you can get away with assholishness at some points, yeah. But usually it's like to get back at a booker who was an asshole to you first.
Right,
or something like that. And that goes a long way in this business too. If you come up out conceited and you got that conceit, it's not gonna It's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you along the way. And there's more of that here than there is around, outside of Long Island.
Do you go into either one of you guys perform in the city a lot?
I've performed in all the clubs in the city. Yeah.
And is there a difference in?
Oh yeah, it's a big difference. Huge difference. It's a huge difference. It's very a lot of fake stuff like that, and it's not. You don't have that camaraderie like you have here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all of us in the scene, we all have that camaraderie where you might find it with like one or two people, or maybe three out there, and then it starts to build up. It seems like they had it and then they lost it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like you have your little cliques of people, bam, 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 bam. Whereas here we're just all in the pot together.
Exactly, man. And like John, who are some of the comics you came up with in the scene, and who are some of your comedy family, your buddies?
To say reiterate what Tony said, I think just about any comic, I know a lot of comics that are new. I know a lot of comics that are very established. I know a lot of comics that are somewhere in between. And if I treat everybody the same, then that's how I treat them. So I'm nice to the new comics, except if I see like a new comic who thinks that they're a lot more than they are, then I'll kind of like slap them down a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, no. Then I'm always very nice. I don't.
That or if you steal.
Forget it.
If you steal, you're shunned, just like the Amish. You are shunned. Yes.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You got to police yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's technically not a real crime, so you guys got to kind of police yourselves. And hey, man, you steal.
That's why I wish we had our own courts, our own police, because the normal courts are not equipped to handle with joke theft. First of all, murder should be legal in that respect. We are our own culture. We should be separate from the regular courts.
Exactly.
I've always said that.
But even with that, the first time you do, you'll get a warning. And they'll be like, hey, man, that joke you did, that's such and such. Don't do it again. And then if you do it again, then you get... So even here, like, with that just shows, how nice we are. That we won't give you the boot in the ass right away.
Right, not right away.
Yeah.
But then if you do it again, then that's it. Hit the brakes.
Now, sometimes you have where I wrote a joke and somebody else wrote a very similar joke.
Right, that's parallel.
Very cross, and that person been doing it a long time, and I hadn't seen them do it, and I just stopped doing it. I said, sorry for the crossover.
Yeah.
It just happened. It was accidental. It's obviously your bit.
Right.
That's why you need like a Library of Congress
to
hold who had it first. That kind of thing.
Is it harder for an impressionist, like with other impression? Like let's say I do a Bill Clinton, you do a Bill Clinton.
Yep.
Now we're gonna have feuding Bill Clintons?
No. I actually get along great with people that do impressions, because a lot of times, I've seen this with many impressions, they will pick up maybe a different part of the impression than I do, and neither one is right or wrong. It's just that's what they picked up out of the impression.
Right.
Like there's a great video of two guys in England doing saying why their Michael Caine is the real Michael Caine. And he's like, it's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, and you don't do the emotional voice. You don't do Michael Caine when he gets upset. I'm not going to bury it under Batman. So it doesn't, but that doesn't, they're both great at Michael Caine. But they're feuding over which one does, because he's like, in the 1960s, Michael Caine talked like that. And it's true.
Right.
So it's
Easy
a matter of which,
ball,
are you doing Michael Caine from the 60s, or are you doing him from Batman?
Right.
It's a different Michael, even the same impression changes over time.
Plus, nobody gives a shit about impressionists.
We're the elite of comedy.
And that leads us to heckling, everybody. We are going to get to the Gagoots.